Welcome back, everyone, to one of these special episodes of the Inspired Writer Collective podcast. Behind the scenes with an indie author, that's me, and today I'm turning over guest host responsibilities to someone very special to me. This is Jordan, this is my fiancé. We have been together for almost 3 years, and I've been writing this book for 3.5 years. So he's been an integral part of both the plot of the book and the writing experience, so who knows what kind of questions he's going to ask me today, but I will say that this picture on the front cover of me hiking, that photo credit goes to Jordan. So welcome, Jordan, to the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me on, babe. This is crazy.
I know. I was so excited when you said that you were willing to do this because I've been finding guest hosts to do these episodes with me, and I was really surprised that you were willing to do it. I have no idea what you're going to try to ask me today.
Why are you surprised?
Because you haven't listened to a single episode of the podcast. And the podcast you did for a short time did not have a video format, so.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say I'm your biggest fan, but I think that's out. I don't think I can claim that anymore since you said I haven't listened to an episode of the podcast. But first, I'll just say super proud of you, babe. It's been really cool. Watching you take on a project that's this long and grueling is pretty cool. It's inspiring because it's literally something that, I don't think I have it in me.
I wish you would. I wish you would.
I have a lot of, I'm willing to work hard and I commit to things, but, writing a book is just something I don't think I could ever do, especially after watching you go through it, so.
I think I might just have to write Jordan's biography myself because he has such a great story and it needs to be out in the world. And I get it. Writing it is not for everyone, but I think we could work something out.
You give me a fair rate.
I won't charge you anything, but I'm taking all the profits for the business.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I guess I'll start with the super easy question.
Guys, he has prepared questions.
I did. I've prepared. What was your favorite story to write?
Ooh. Favorite story. Well, I was super excited when I got to the point where I realized I wanted to include our love story in the book. Because, that was not in the original, even the first draft and the second draft. That only came after doing some revisions about 1.5 years ago where I cut the first 30,000 words of the book, which was more historical. It started with 3rd grade. It included some snippets from studying abroad in Prague in college and some of my time working with the FBI. So I cut a bunch of those stories and decided that I was going to include our story. And it was really fun to write and also pretty simple because I had journaled so much during that time period that I could really just refer to my journals for the content and recalling the different things. I had a lot of, pictures on my phone from our various hikes. I did have to look back up all the, how many miles is this hike or what order did these events go down because things were happening at a really quick pace that first summer, and
Tell me about it.
And but it was really fun to write that part because it was fun to kind of relive those exciting early relationship moments with the sense of security and stability of where I knew our relationship was at the point that I was actually writing it. So it was really fun to be able to look back at those points.
Do you think it's more fun for you because you get to have the true historical timeline, or for me who gets to make up the fantasy world?
I love that I write the story first, so I get to dictate what truth looks like, and now you have to counteract something that is published. Because if there's public documentation of how things went down, and you have no proof to say otherwise.
We've done a YouTube campaign.
Hey, whatever builds publicity, let's do it.
Okay, what part of our early dating days, seem funny to you now? Like, his our early days are in the book, you know?
Oh, yeah.
When we had like, I don't know, different takes, I'll say, on things that happen.
I mean, it's kind of incredible in some sense that, like, we'd gotten to this point from that point because it was a really kind of rocky start in the sense that, like, I knew I was super into, like, figuring out if we could make something work, but your schedule was atrocious.
Yeah.
And the level of, like, emotional reassurance you were giving me about, like, how into it you were, like, I was really not sure, like, where you stood on that, like, how much of it was just like, "Eh, I'll go along with this for a minute and see." So, it's so cool to see now just how we both adapted and evolved to better suit one another versus, like, where we started now, like, come together a good deal.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I was into it. As you know, I was just cautious. Yeah, and that's cautious. No, it's really funny for me to look back because now some of those things would just be like, it's like we wouldn't think twice about them, but when
Yeah.
you're figuring stuff out early.
What story, since you've read the portions of the book where you appear, what story in the book, like, was funniest to read, or were you surprised to read, or what gave you, like, the strongest reaction as you're reading those parts of the book?
The part I don't remember I think it was when you were house sitting and we held hands, like on a walk. That's in the book, right?
So so that first
That's
weekend,
yeah.
that Memorial Day weekend, is that what you're referencing?
I don't remember that I'm bad.
So we had the molding hands piece was at the AA meeting.
No, it was when we were on a walk somewhere. I don't remember what the quote in the book, but there was I just remember it being really interesting that like so much was going on in your head in that moment that like, I mean, I'm a dumb dude, so like,
It went over your
it
head.
just totally went over my head, but in some ways, but that part, and then of course the hike to Rainbow Lake.
Infamous Rainbow Lake, which we have since repeated is that hike. And it is brutal. Such a brutal hike.
We don't need to do, we moved away from it. Good.
We said we were revisiting every, 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Okay. Next question. I'm rapid firing these. Well, hold on. Let me think about this here. Okay. When I look back on my life, which has been its own crazy thing, as he said, there's like so much of it now that I'm like, oh, it makes perfect sense to where I am now. What parts of, can you give an inside glimpse of like what parts of your life, maybe that aren't in the book, that you think are like when you reflect on those, maybe you're just like, oh, this all makes sense. The aren't in the book.
Yeah, so there's this whole sort of not written subplot in the book about me being autistic. And I mentioned it briefly in the sense that, like, as soon as we started dating, you called me out on it. And then there's a story in the book about a psychic that I saw because I had, like, aliens around me or something. She said that that was her indication that I was autistic. And prior to that, no one had ever used that term associated with me to describe me, anything like that. So, like, during, like, the writing of this book and living parts of this book, I was also filtering that and understanding that through the lens, like, re-looking at all these, like, past experiences and understanding, like, through that lens, why things were a struggle to me. So, like, the stories I mentioned that I cut where, like, I just was really socially awkward, and there's a story about getting all the gold stars on the chart in 3rd grade. That was like the class motivator, but I kept winning every 6 weeks period, and so the teacher just stopped doing it, and everyone knew it was my fault that it went away, and everyone knew that I ruined it. And
Wait. Did people tell you that you ruined it?
I don't remember whether they told me that I ruined it, but I knew that.
You knew that you ruined it.
Yeah, I knew that they knew it was my fault that this opportunity was now gone and no one else was going to win the sticker challenge because I was going to win every 6 weeks and therefore it just disappeared.
Imaginary crop.
Yeah, so there's just a number of stories. I mean, even the ones where like I misunderstood like guys' advances toward me and then ended up getting in really sticky situations. Like once I looked at it through that lens, it was like, oh, now I have a better understanding of like what I was thinking going into that and misinterpreting or just taking at face value what someone was telling me because that's how I operate.
Yeah.
And being totally unaware that someone may have an ulterior motive that they're not speaking out loud that I'm not
Where?
picking up on. Yeah.
What parts of your past self do you least resonate with now?
Ooh. Luckily, all of the people pleasing, the insane amount of just like, to my own detriment, 99% of the time, shaping what I did to just fit what someone else like wanted or expressed that they needed. Yeah, it's hard to relate to even how I showed up in my last marriage. Like, it's so foreign to who I am now that it's hard to look back and recall doing that. But even how I like showed up in some of my past workplaces, like just working so relentlessly hard and not being compensated properly for that work or not. Yeah, and just like approaching burnout so much of the time. Like I'm so protective of my energy now.
So protective. Oh man, yeah. Bedtimes and routines. Yeah. For me, it's really crazy to read parts. I mean, stuff or just stuff that you've told me. I really don't know that person at all. It's so strange to hear some of like even things you did. Like, okay, for example, when we're watching Peaky Blinders and you name the gun that just shows up in the scene, like I can't even understand where that part of you comes from, or like how that was, like how that's data that's just forever in your head. And like, cause it's just like not the person that I know now, it's so strange. And then of course, like relationship dynamics and all that stuff. Like I just never, like I genuinely, when I hear those stories, it sounds like it's a different person. Like,
I mean, I said to you the other day, like when you laughed at me about the Peaky Blinders gun reference, and for context, I was a forensic scientist who worked in firearms for a decade. So that was a whole lifetime of a career I feel like I had that I don't really have any use for now, all that knowledge. Oh, there's been so many different evolutions of myself. Like, I feel like I've lived so many different lives.
Yeah.
Like, there was the FBI, Joint Terrorism Task Force intern, and, there was the person who had a farm with chickens and meat rabbits and goats, and
still obsessed with goats.
I still love so many of those things, but it's just not like, not all of it gets represented in the life I have now. Not everything what I want now, but it's so interesting because there's just so many different iterations, I guess, past versions of myself.
Yeah.
And I think that too, it speaks to why it's a little bit easier to let go of ownership of this story, even as it like goes out into the world, because I know and people around me know that like I'm not even that person anymore. I'm not the person that was like first dating you, that appears in the later half of the book. I've already evolved and changed even from then. So whatever kind of, criticism or, negative reviews I may get, as people think that because they're getting a glimpse into a period of my life, that they think that they know me. I know that I'm just so much different than that.
Yeah. I think the funniest one for me, because it's a recurring theme, is that like I know there's this belief, or I'll say current belief, that there's like this issue with like making friends, and I like, even in that one, like the other stuff I can see the change and all stuff, like, but I'm like, where I have no idea why you still think that. Like, you go and make friends everywhere and it's so easy, but it's always this worry. It's so fun.
I know. I think I am in the process of updating that like old misbelief that I struggle to make friends, because I think I know myself so much better. So whereas historically, and you can see it in the plot of the book, like I was putting on all these sort of like masks or versions of myself to be accepted into various groups, and now I don't try to do that. But because I'm showing up authentically as myself, I'm finding better quality, faster connections, because it's like, take it or leave it. I'm no longer going to people please and mold and shape myself into what I think someone wants from me. So I think it's a lot easier. And I would say that even podcasting and has really helped me figure out how to find commonalities with people who are otherwise strangers to me in a quick time frame. I mean, when I'm interviewing guests and stuff for the podcast, I think that's a skill that I've cultivated over the past 2.5 years. And I can see it. I think, in this new change of scenery and this move that we've just done, I think it's about time to update that belief.
You make friends everywhere.
I guess I made friends at the post office the other day as I was mailing out ARC copies of the book. I ended up striking up conversations with 2 different local women here, so that was cool.
Okay. Fun note. The baseball game last night. So just because it piggybacks off that last thing where she's like typically a little more introverted until you get her at a sports game, apparently, and then she's the loudest person. No, there was one lady over there that was louder, but like for somebody who like sports is not really their thing, to watch you get so excited at a sports game was so funny to me. Like, I had no idea, and then to hear that you also do that at my games is quite funny. I had no idea. I genuinely had no idea.
Yeah.
So I'm learning things all the time. Okay. I like this one. So I'll start with a statement. For me, I think one of the really cool, like the coolest things about our relationship is, for the longest, like even getting into soccer and starting coaching, I think one of the biggest hurdles in my life was like, how do I deal with failure or coming up short and all those things? But what's really cool now is like, now I just don't, like, I don't feel that anymore at all. And I think a big part of that is, and don't correct me if I'm wrong here, but like, I think a big part of that is, number one, like, I just know that no matter how any of that stuff goes, like, you just think I'm great. So that's super fun for me and reassuring. And like, if things aren't going well at work, it's like, wow, whatever, I'm going to get home and have a good night. So that's like been an awesome relief, and change for me in the way that, like, just how I feel about myself and how I feel about life. Because I don't have to worry about my only value being the output in the world, which is awesome. But so like, number one, the way I'm thinking about it is like, I think I've watched you, how do I say this? I've watched you like just put like a growth mindset towards everything. And so I think did you intentionally do that to me? Or is that just like, or do you think that comes from like all the massive change you've made in your life? So you just know there's like things are going to be ups and things are going to be downs. Or like, is that something that's changed for you? Is that something that you've always felt?
Yeah, certainly in writing the memoir, I got to see so clearly how everything that I felt like was the worst thing in the world was not only temporary, but also forced me to change in ways that always led to growth and improvement and to my benefit. Even when my decade-long career suddenly ended, like, if that hadn't have ended, I would have never moved to Colorado and started writing and started, a podcast. I would have never met you. So there's so much that, like, I can see as I put my life into a narrative form that it's all worked out in the end, and the book's not over till the book's over, And so now when things happen that feel a little less than ideal, I really just mentally frame it in the sense of, oh, this is going to make an interesting plot point. You need ups and downs for a story to be interesting. So now I view our life through this totally different lens. Like, I'm fairly confident that we've just started living Act 2 of the next book. And so I already know that there's some stuff from Act 1, and even like the fact that we had to move on top of this book launch, and now you have to have shoulder surgery. And so all of this, like, sure, there are inconveniences to it, but I think I pretty quickly recalibrate and go to a thought pattern of, oh, okay, well, that will make an interesting plot point. That'll throw the readers for a loop. That'll increase the tension for the story. So
yeah,
I've seen how it's turned out over and over again, and so I've learned not to stress it as much.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. When things are really dark, it was really easy for me to think that way. Now I get more upset with the minor inconveniences, I think, which is silly, I guess. But no, I just in our conversations, I'm like, yeah. So I should be excited about my shoulder surgery.
Heck yeah. It's given us so much more time together this summer than we would have had. And yeah, I think there's good that's going to come out of it. I'm curious though, babe, like, what is it like for you reading about a portion of your life through someone else's eyes and in someone else's story that's going to be like out into the world? Like, I had full control of how I was, portrayed. And while I did give you a little bit of latitude of let me know if anything needs to be changed or taken out, like, what was that experience like reading about yourself in my books?
Honestly, funny.
How so?
Because we think so differently, I think the emotions that we feel are very similar, but I think the way we articulate them and internalize them are so different.
Yeah.
So I just chuckling the whole time.
Like, it was a comedy for you?
Kind of, because I know you and I know how you use certain language. So like, as I'm it was just kind of funny for me to like, I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense, I don't think I asked you to take very much out, did I?
Oh, no, I just had to correct some stuff.
But no, it was actually kind of funny. I guess it was cute. It was
cute to see yourself in that way.
Not to see myself, but to see how you were like writing about it and just like journaling about it. No, that was really funny. And then like, I don't know how to say it, but like, it's not like to see things that were like really big moments and shifts in the way that you were thinking about us. I don't want to say that I didn't view those moments as like big or like, but I don't really track that stuff of like, oh, this is what the moment that things changed. I mean, I'm more of like a vibe, like, oh, this seems to be feeling good. And like, like I wasn't like today's shifted,
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of, it was interesting to watch you like put all those pieces together to like this, like, oh, this is gonna work, you know?
Well, there's one pattern that I write about in the book of how I at least was perceiving your level of investment in our relationship. And I just kept noticing this trend that anytime you would go spend time with your family, whether you were going home to Utah or visiting your aunt in Wyoming for Thanksgiving, you would come back. I mean, we would be radio silent during the time you were away. You would not reach out, text, call, whatever, which is still kind of your norm. I think you're traveling. And then you would come back, and to me, I would perceive like a more openness, more investment that you seem to have in our relationship.
Yeah.
Do you, from your perception, is that
That's
true?
accurate. But I think
Do you know why that is?
yeah, I think
Because I tried to guess in the book as to like why that you might feel more safe being in your emotions in those places.
I don't think it's that.
What do you think it is?
I think I think it all makes perfect sense in that, and even in how the story was constructed, is that you think by talking and writing, like you have to like get the ideas out.
Yeah.
And I don't think through things that way. Like usually talking, whatever I'm going through or whatever I'm considering or deliberating, whatever, I don't do that super well with like talking it out. Like I have to think about it first. So that's one of the funny things that's really interesting is like with us now, it's quite comical actually, is that when there's something to talk about, you want to talk about it. And I need a beat to think about it, and then I can talk about it. But if I haven't thought about it, then like that conversation is
Shut down
or totally pointless, because by the time I get around to thinking about it, I'm going to feel very different than like how I want to move forward to the next thing, you know? And so, yeah, I think for me, that time away was just like, I had time to like be in my own head for a little bit and think things through. Because like, if you were to ask me in those early stages, like on the spot, like, you know, where is this going? I'd freeze. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, and that's why I was so like, oh, I don't know how much more I invest in this. Yeah.
It's funny how far we've come. Now the cool thing is conflict's a strong word, but always makes us like closer.
Oh, for sure.
Which is really fun. Not the norm for me in my past, so I love that part about us.
What do you hope happens with the book?
Oh, I hope you sell millions of copies, babe.
You want us to be that, like, I mean, that would require some level of fame and notoriety.
I don't care anymore. I mean, I don't. No. That doesn't scare me.
No.
Not really. I just don't care what other people think now.
I mean, I would like to still be able to go on date nights and not be harassed by paparazzi, so somewhere under that level would be great.
Well, yeah, we don't need to be. Who is it? What's her name?
I don't need stalkers or anything.
Zendaya and
yeah.
What's the other? What's her
husband's name?
name?
Tom Holland.
Yeah, we don't need to be that famous.
Oh,
that would suck.
So,
but no, I want you to have tons of success, babe. I think that's really cool. You put so much time into this, and I know how meaningful it was, and so I'm just happy to see that you're proud of your work, and I'm happy to see that you feel really good about it, and then, you know, I want other people to be able to like see all the value and insight and honesty that you can give people and how impactful that is. So I hope for all the success. That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think it's probably the first accomplishment in my life that I feel really proud and open to sharing. Like, I always sort of had this reservation about like hyping myself up or talking about my accomplishments. Like, there was always sort of this stigma of like, oh, that's boastful or that's self-serving or whatever. But I think I've just, in my own just personal evolution through this process, I've just come to a different place where this is going to be the first accomplishment that I don't feel that hesitancy to share about, to talk about, to just own that, like, yeah, I did this, like, really hard and incredible thing.
Yeah, I think it's interesting we're both at that point at the same time too,
Mhm.
because I've never, well, even in the things that I did well and were quote unquote successful, I never like felt as proud of them as I do now with the
Mm.
work I like now. It just feels really good. To maybe we did that for each other. That's kind of cool.
Aw, look at us.
Look at us go. All right. Do I have any more here?
I wanna throw in some stats because during the emails I send out each Monday through the Inspired Writer Collective, there was a poll this week about what kind of things you wanna see within these behind the scenes episodes, and stats and numbers was one of those things. So I'm gonna go grab those real quick. All right, writers, for those who are looking for stats about how the pre-sale's going, what cost looks like as an indie author who's self-publishing, I've got some numbers for you. As of the last day I checked a few days ago, I have currently pre-sold 51 copies. I placed an initial order that delivered in a very reasonable amount of time from Ingram Spark. Of 150 books. So when I do my calculations with those 51 orders that have come in, that's $1,080 of income. But between the initial printing cost of those 150 books, plus the stickers, the bookmarks, and the packaging, I've spent $1,098. So 18 more dollars than what's come in, but that's okay because that's for 150 books. And I've only sold 50 of them so far. So what that looks like when I calculate all of that into how much each book costs me, that makes it come to $8.45. And that's including the cost of sending out 20 ARC copies. So there are people who are ARC readers for me, or who were beta readers and proofreaders who are getting a complimentary copy of the book. So what that costs me as the author is around $10.24 per copy for me to pay for the printing of that book, and then pay for the shipping, the $4.47 media mail shipping to get those books out. So that's what the cost side and the numbers of sales side looks like. I've already got a number of indie bookstore consignments set up. There is one in Salida, Colorado, and another bookstore in Buena Vista, Colorado. I also have signed up to have my book in the bookshop of an upcoming writer symposium at the Grand Mesa Writer Symposium. They will take 12 copies, and those will be sold during that weekend event. And then I've also reserved a vendor table at an upcoming recovery event this summer in Grand Junction, Colorado. So, number of events I've got lined up to sell these copies. I mentioned in last week's episode with Hannah that my personal goal is to sell 1,000 copies myself, so not counting the ones that get sold via Amazon, but through consignments, through events, through my website. My goal is to sell 1,000 copies within this first year. If you would like to pre-order the book and you haven't yet, there is still time. You can go to whisperedwisdompress.com. You'll see the pre-sale link there for an author-signed paperback copy, plus some of those freebies I've got put in there for you as well. That is the best way to support me as the author. I make a slightly better profit on the books that I pre-sale than I do from the ones purchased through Amazon. So if you are in the US and you are looking for a paperback copy of this book of Lonely Girl, An Unexpected Love Story, then please visit that link to place your order, and I'll be shipping those out shortly. Otherwise, please check back in. We've got a couple more weeks of this series, and I'm so excited to share the behind the scenes with all of you. Thanks for joining me today, babe.
Yeah, very proud of you, Ben.
Thanks.